Hey everybody, it's your boy King David the Warrior, and I'm here today to tell you guys my first story. You see, behind closed doors, I make my own books, and I plan on selling them one day. But for this, to make up for removing the movie A Galaxy at War, I'm going to tell you guys the story, and hopefully this will help you guys when I make the movie eventually. So, let's begin. A Galaxy at War, Chapter 1. The King Rises. It was just a quiet day out on the outskirts of Green Hill City. Young David was going out for a walk when he spotted a meteor crashing behind a hill less than a mile from his current position. When he arrives at the scene, he sees what appears to be an emerald green crystal sticking out of the meteor. He goes up to the crystal, and when he touches it, he immediately absorbs the energy from within it as sparks of electricity shoot out in all random directions. What happened to me? Said King David. This feels so strange. I don't know what happened. After absorbing the energy, the crystal turns black and turns into ash. The crystal turned into ash, said David. This is very strange. About a month later, David has complete control of his powers and has become the number one superhero of Green Hill, as he has stopped many crimes. His cousin, John, had recently moved into his house because of the death of his parents. His parents had fought a battle against invading creatures from another planet. They had sacrificed their lives to protect the world. And now, being king, David must now help protect the world and the galaxy. As time went on, John became more and more jealous as David gained more and more fame and popularity among the crowd. Man, everyone's always talking about you, man, said John. Well, of course. I'm the only one that has powers. I've done a lot of great things, said David. Boy, I wish I was like you, too bad I can't find any crystals, said John as he looked down. Well, maybe one day you will, said David as he smiles at him. Things were good between David and John, but then one day John is approached by a group of some really mean, nasty people saying how he is worthless because he can't do a single thing. Why can't you be like your cousin, John? said the citizen. You should go out there and find a crystal so that you too can be powerful and strong, said another citizen. I wish I could, but it's been a month since he got his powers. Who knows if there's ever going to be another meteor, said John. Well, you better do something soon, 'cause very soon you'll be nothing, said the citizen harshly. John looked at him with a sad look on his face as he walks away. And then just as they warned, John becomes less and less noticeable until finally some people would go up to him and say, "Who is this guy? Do you know him?" And David would reply, "Yes, he is my cousin John. Where's his powers?" And then John finally loses it. "I'm tired of this talk about powers. It's been almost 2 months now. How long are you guys going to keep doing this?" said John angrily. "John, calm down. Look, I know you're upset about this, but there's really nothing I can do. There hasn't been a single meteor strike in months," said David. "Well, this is getting ridiculous. How many times am I going to have to hear about how great you are with your powers?" said John as he glares at David. It'll be okay, John. It'll blow over eventually, said David, looking at John. "How will it? Every day you come and save everybody from all the crimes going on. They're always going to talk about you and your pals, and they keep comparing me to you. I'm tired of being compared. I'm tired of this," said John as he begins to get more and more angry. John, it'll be okay," said David as he puts his hand on John's shoulder. "No, none of this is okay. It'll never be okay," said John as he removes David's hand from his shoulder. John then walks away angrily back to the castle. David looks at him with a long, sad look. Later that day, John grabs a sword and tries to kill David. "What are you doing?" shouted David. "I will end you. I have had enough of this nonsense. You must die," said John, looking at David as his eyes slowly turn blood red. "John, what has gotten into you? I'm your cousin. You can't do this to your own cousin," said David as he looks in fear. "You are not my cousin anymore. Your streak ends here," said John as he raises his sword and attempts to kill David. David then rolls off his bed and then uses green electricity to zap the sword out of his hands. "Why, you coward! Why don't you fight me like a man and forget about your stupid powers?" David pulls out his white sword with diamonds embedded into the blade. "I don't want to do this, John," said David as he looks at him. "Be a man," said John as he picks up his sword and attacks David. David and John attack each other fiercely throughout the night as their blades hit each other, creating sparks. The grass around the castle has not been watered, has not received rain in over a month, so it is very dry. The sparks lands on the grass, creating huge balls of fire as the two former heroes or the two cousins engage in combat. The sound of the swords striking each other can be heard as sparks continue to fly, setting the whole field on fire. The sky lit up like the 4th of July. John, this is not like you. Has jealousy taken your heart? Said David as he gasped for air. You are out of control with these powers of yours. If you can't learn to help out your cousin when he has people breathing down his neck wondering why he's not like you, then you are no cousin of mine. I disown you, says John as his eyes open wide, still blood red. John lunges at him with his sword and swings fiercely left to right, up and down and all around. They strike fiercely as the flames light up the night sky and the castle slowly begins to burn. Everyone, we must get out of here. The castle could collapse at any moment, says one of the soldiers as everyone retreats from the castle. Look what you've done, John. You've destroyed our home because of your jealousy. Says David. I had enough of you, David. You and your popularity, it is sickening. I will not stand by and have this go on any longer. You will die tonight, says John, looking at David as the fire glows behind him. I never thought I'd see this coming, says David, looking away with sad. John, get over it, boy, said John. David and John fight each other once again in fierce combat as they slowly make their way to the roof, fire still surrounding the castle as the castle itself is on fire. John, look at this. With all this fire, neither of us will live, says David. I'd rather we both die than to have you run around with these crazy powers of yours, says John angrily. Get it behind you, boy. This is not like you. You are my cousin and I love you, said David. Love is overrated, said John, as he grabs his sword and swings it towards David. David blocks it using his sword. I can't have you do this, John. It's not right. You're not right, said John, retorted. David and John continue fighting fiercely on top of the castle as it slowly burned. The ground below them finally caves in as the fire had worn away the ceiling's support. The two of them fall to the ground as pieces of the castle begins to land on them. John rises out of the rubble, only to find David is nowhere in sight. He looks for him, with his eyes still glowing red. But then he sees the fire getting bigger as the castle slowly falls apart. I don't know if he's dead, but I need to get out of here, said John. John hijacks one of the spaceships parked outside. He then flies to an unknown location as he disappears into the sky. David uses his powers to lift up the rubble as he looks around for John. Where'd he go? Where is he? David continues to use his powers to look for John but couldn't find anything. He then leaves the castle only to watch it burn to the ground. What am I gonna do? says David as he stares at the ominous glow of the castle burning. End of chapter 1.